Hi, this is Lee with learningwithlee.com. We're going to do our next CSS lesson. We're going to do something related to what we did with padding. We added padding to make these links bigger, to make them look like buttons, give them a background color. Otherwise it would just be the word there. We're going to put a border around the buttons today. So my buttons are just links. And the property, so my selector is A for the links, the property is border, and I'm going to do the size of the font for the border, and I'm going to do, I'm just going to say a solid line, and then I'm going to pick a color. Let's do this color here. Okay, let's see what that did. Okay, can't see it that well. See, the line came around it. We could make this bigger to find some more clear. I don't know that that looks super good, but to show you what it does. And you can change this as well. If you search, I'll show you what to search. If you search borders, it's not showing where you can see it. If you search borders, W3 schools, W3 like www, the number 3 schools.com. It tells you the different things you could have, like a dashed border, a dotted border. Here's like different things it can be. So like this, if you want it to look like a button to click on, let's try that one. Outset. So I'm going to change solid to outset. And they look like buttons. Okay. Another thing that's let me just show you something while we're doing this. If I hover over a link, look, I put the link selector, colon, and the word hover. Just see what happens. When I hover over it, it looks like a button. I almost like that better. Okay, so that's a fun thing. So there's a couple things you can play with, right? You can play with adding a border to something on your page. I could put a border around my recipe area. Maybe that's something I want to do. And you can play with hover. We could change the color. Just for fun. Background color. You can just show you can do different tips. You could change the size of the font when you hover over it. And then let's change the border color. Just for fun. You know, any of these properties you can change on hover. Some will have a better impact than others. Okay, so that way it's not changing the size of it. It's not like flipping back and forth. I had it before. If you don't have the border here, then on the hover, it like moved everything over, which is fine, but it's a little, depends if you like that, how it moves and stuff. It's kind of like keeps adjusting itself. So if you flip, not that someone's going to sit here and flip back and forth a lot, but if you do, then it's kind of shaking. It's kind of a little awkward. So you want to think about that when you're using hover. I just use Control Z to undo what I did and put that back in there. When using hover, you want to think about transitions. And heck, while we're thinking of it, transition is something you can do. Transition duration. You can say how long it takes to change when you hover over it. Whoa. That's a little slow, but then it's not, instant sudden. You can do something like, let's do 0.3, just to make it a little nicer on the eyes. Okay, it's much more subtle there. So those are 3 things you can play with now. You can add a border. You can go to W3 Schools Borders to look at the different options. You could put dotted, have a dotted line, a dashed line. Typically you'll use a solid. There's one other thing I can put in here. Sorry for a whole bunch of things, but just going quick. Border radius is a curved edge to your border. See, now it has a rounded edge here. So you can play with different numbers there to see what it does. The higher the number, the more curve it'll have. Okay, so we have borders, the font size for the border, how thick it's going to be, what type of border it's going to be. Solid will be the most normal, but outside looks like a button. The color you want the border to be. Border radius tells how much to round the corners. Transition duration, this is for using the hover. It's not for borders, it's for the hover. How long you want it to take to transition. And that does not go with the hover, that goes in the main property selector. And then you add hover to it, and this is only going to show up when your mouse is hovering over it. And you can put anything there and play with it. Alright, good lesson. Alright, I'll see you next time.